Lesson for today is called chemical combination, but before knowing how the atoms combine together to form molecules, we have to know the elements divided into three types: metals, non-metals, and noble gas. What's the difference between the three types? Metals, they are shiny or they have metallic luster. Number 2, they are good conductors of heat and electricity. Number 3, all the metals are solid except mercury. It's the only liquid metals. Number 4, they are malleable and ductile. What the meaning of malleable? Malleable, it means that it can be hammered and you can shape it. And also, by hammer it doesn't just break down into small pieces. And the last property of the metals, during the chemical reaction, the atoms tends to lose their outermost electrons to the other atoms and change into positive ion, which carry the number of positive charges equal the number of the given electrons. For example, sodium, it's the best example of metal, and it's positive ion. Here, when you study the electronic configuration of sodium, you gotta know that sodium contains in the outermost energy level just one electron. So, sodium neutral atom contains 11 electrons, 11 protons, and 12 neutrons. When it participates in a chemical reaction, it tends to lose one electron to make the outermost energy level is saturated with electron. So in that situation, the sodium positive ion contains 10 electrons, 11 protons, and 12 neutrons. And also in that situation, the number of protons greater than the number of electrons by 1. So it's gonna be N positive 1. Another example, aluminum and its positive ion. When you know or when you study the electronic configuration of the aluminum, you have to know that the aluminum contains 3 electrons in the outermost energy level. And when aluminum tends to participates in a chemical reaction, it tends to lose those 3 electrons. So, aluminum neutral atom contains 13 electrons, 13 protons, 14 neutrons. While the aluminum positive ion, it contains 10 electrons, 13 protons, and 14 neutrons. So in that situation also, the number of protons greater than the number of electrons by 3. So here the aluminum positive ion gonna be Al positive 3. From above, you can know what the meaning of metals. Metals, they are the elements which have less than 4 electrons in the outermost energy level. And it's gonna form positive ion. And what the meaning of positive ion? Positive ion, it's an atom which loses an electron or more during the chemical reaction. Now, we gotta know what the meaning of nonmetals. Nonmetals, the first property, they have no luster or they are not shiny. Number 2, they are bad conductors of heat and electricity except carbon, which is good conductor of electricity. Not for heat, no, it's good conductor of only electricity. Number 3, they are solids or solids and gas. So non-metals, maybe it's solid, maybe it's gas, except bromine. Bromine, it's the only liquid non-metal. Number 4, they are not malleable or ductile. What the meaning of malleable? When you hammer it, it just breaks down into small pieces.
Flattened. Now hit hard the gold piece and pencil lead with the hammer.
So here, when he just hammer it, it just breaking down into small pieces.
That gold pieces and pencil lead break into small pieces on beating.
Yes. So, in the last property, during the chemical reaction of the atoms of non-metals tends to gain electrons. So, in metals, lose. Here in the non-metal, gain electrons from the other atoms to complete the outermost energy level and change into negative ion, which carry a number of negative charges equal to the number of the gained electrons. For example, chlorine. Chlorine atom contains 17 electrons, 17 protons, and 18 neutrons. When chlorine participates in a chemical reaction, it tends to gain 1 electron to make the outermost energy level saturated with electrons. And to make, or the chlorine negative ion contains 18 electrons, 17 protons, and 18 neutrons. And in this situation, the number of protons less than the number of electrons by 1. And that's why chlorine negative ion, colon Cl negative 1. Another example, oxygen atom and its negative ion. By studying the electronic configuration of oxygen atom, you gotta know that it contains 8 electrons, 8 protons, and 8 neutrons. When oxygen participates in the chemical reaction, it tends to gains 2 electrons to make the outermost energy level saturated with electrons. So, in the situation of oxygen negative ion, it contains 10 electrons, 8 protons, and 8 neutrons. From the first look, you can know that the number of electrons more than the number of protons by 2, and that's why negative ion or oxygen negative ion, colon O negative 2. Okay, from above, you have to know that the ion, it's an atom which loses or gains an electron or more during the chemical reactions. The types of ions, of course, maybe it's positive, maybe it's negative. Okay, but we said that the elements divided into metals, non-metals, and noble gas. So we gotta know now what the meaning of noble gas. Noble gas, it's mean that they are elements that have the saturated outermost energy level. So here they are the elements which their outermost energy level is completely filled with electrons. For example, neon, argon. So neon contains 8 electrons in the outermost energy level. So it's saturated with electron. Argon, it contains also 8 electrons, so it's saturated with electrons. So again, what the meaning of noble gas? Noble gas